The Ramayana was composed in Sanskrit, probably not before 300 BC, by the poet Valmiki, and in its present form consists of some 24,000 couplets divided into 7 books. The poem enjoys immense popularity in India, where its recitation is considered an act of great merit. Little is known of Valmiki as a historical figure, though he is described as having been a thief named Ratnakara prior to becoming a sage. Many translations of the Ramayana into the vernacular languages are themselves works of great literary artistry. It also includes the Tamil version of Kampan, the Bengali version of Kritibas, and the Hindi version Ramacharitamanasa of Tulasidas. Throughout North India, the events of the poem are enacted in an annual pageant, the Ram Leela, and in South India, the two epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, make up the story repertoire of the Kathakali dance drama of Malabar. The Ramayana was popular during the Mughal period, and it was a favorite subject of Rajasthani and Pahari painters of the 17th and 18th centuries. The story also spread in various forms throughout Southeast Asia, especially in Cambodia, Indonesia, and Thailand, and its heroes, together with the Pandava brothers of Mahabharata, were also the heroes of traditional Javanese Balinese theatre, dance, and shadow plays. Incidents from the Ramayana are carved in bas relief on many Indonesian monuments, for example, at Panataran in eastern Java. The Ramayana has 7 long sections called Kandas. Balakanda, the first chapter in Ramayana written by Valmiki, details about the miraculous birth of Rama and his brothers Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna, their early life in Ayodhya, and education with Rishi Vasishtha. Also, Rama's slaying of the demons Tataka of the forest, his slaying of the demon Subahu, and his hordes of defile the yagnas of Vishwamitra, his deliverance of Ahalya, and his wedding with Sita. Here is one of the important pieces of information in this book is the natal chart of Rama, which is embedded in the chapter 18, verse 8 to 11. ततो यज्ञे समाप्ते तु ऋतूनाम षट् समत्युः ततः च द्वादशे मासे चैत्रे नाविमेक तिथौ नक्षत्रे अदिति दैत्वे स्व उच्चसंस्थेषु पंचसु ग्रहेषु कर्कटे लग्ने वाक्पता इन्दुना सह प्रोद्धमाने जगन्नाथं सर्वलोक नमस्कृतं कौसल्या अजन्यात् रामं सर्वलक्षण संयुतं प्रोद्धमाने जगन्नाथं सर्वलोक नमस्तुतं संयुतं अजयनं रामं सर्वलक्षण कौसल्या विष्णोः अधर्म महाभागं पुत्रं एक्ष्वाकुः नंदनं लोहिताक्षं महाबाहुं रक्त ओष्टं दुद्धवं स्वनं, which means on completion of the ritual 6 seasons have passed by, and then in the 12th month on the 9th day of Chaitra month, that is April to May, when the presiding deity of ruling star of the day is Aditi, where the ruling star of the day is Punarvasu, which is also called as Nakshatra. The asterism is in the ascendant, and when 5 of the 9 planets, that is Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus are at their highest position, when Jupiter with the moon is ascendant in Cancer, and when day is advancing, then Queen Kausalya gave birth to a son with all the divine attributes like lotus red eyes, lengthy arms, roseate lips, voice like drumbeat, and who took birth to delight the Ikshvaku dynasty, who is adored by all the worlds, and who is the greatly blessed epitome of Vishnu, and he is none other than Rama. This is written in Book 1, Balakanda, Ramayana by Valmiki, chapter 18, verse 8, 9, 10, and 11. Even to this day, Ramanavami festival is celebrated throughout India on that particular day. Balakanda or Balakandam narrates about Prince Rama's birth, his youthful adventure, and his marriage to the Princess Sita. Rama birth in Balakanda. Dasharatha was the king of Ayodhya and had 3 wives. Kausalya, eldest wife, she was the daughter of king of Kosala kingdom. Kaikeyi, second wife. Kaikeyi belonged ruling family of the Kekeya clan. Sumitra, the third wife. She came from the ancient kingdom of Kashi, but no children. The thought of his dynasty ending with him saddened King Dasharatha, and he was very eager to have a son who would take care of the throne of Ayodhya. King Dasharatha visited the royal family's guru, Vasishtha, and narrated his problem. Vasishtha comforted King Dasharatha by telling him that he would have 4 sons. With King Dasharatha's consent, Guru Vasishtha summoned Rishi Shringi to perform the Putra Kamyagna, which is the sacrificial fire for the birth of sons. The gods gave him with a bowl of divine nectar. As the 3 queens sat to eat their share of prasadam, an eagle snatched Sumitra's share. To console Sumitra, Kaikeyi and Kaushalya gave half of their share each to Sumitra. With Kausalya and Kaikeyi each bearing 1 son, that is, Rama was born to Kausalya, Bharata was born to Kaikeyi, and Sumitra gave birth to the twins, that is, Lakshman and Shatrughan. Rama, portrayed as the 7th avatar of God Vishnu, who had opted to be born into mortality in order to combat the demon Ravan, who was oppressing the gods and who could only be destroyed by a mortal. Rishi Vishwamitra trained the princes in Balakanda. Rishi Vishwamitra trained the sons of King Dasharatha in the art of firing missile arrows, imbibed with secret chants that could cause the arrows to shower fire or water on its enemies, and even follow them through the 7 worlds until they are killed. When Rama was 6 years old, Rishi Vishwamitra visited to the court of King Dasharatha, where the king received him with great honor. Rishi Vishwamitra lived in the forest and was performing great sacrifices. However, the Rakshasas, Mericha and Subahu, were disturbing sacrificial rites. He knew that Rama had taken birth on earth to protect his devotees, and so he decided to visit King Dasharatha to ask him for favor. The rishi asked the king to send his sons to the forest with him. Reluctantly, the king agreed. Rishi Vishwamitra took Rama and Lakshmana to his ashram as he needed Rama's help in slaying several Rakshasas that had been harassing him and several other rishis living in the area. Rama encountered his first problem, female Rakshasi, Tadaka. Tadaka, a cursed Yaksha demoness. When asked to slay the Rakshasi, Rama considered it sinful to kill a woman. Rishi Vishwamitra explained that evil had no gender. The killing of Tadaka liberates the Yaksha soul who was cursed for a sin and had to adopt a Rakshasi's body. Rishi Vishwamitra presented Rama and Lakshman with several astras and shastras that would be of use to them in the future. Rama and Lakshmana were taught the advanced military arts and given the knowledge of all the weapons and their uses. Rishi Vishwamitra told Rama and Lakshmana that soon he, along with some of his disciples, would perform a yajna for 7 days and nights that would be of great benefit to the world. And the two princes must keep close watch for the two sons of Tadaka Mericha and Subahu, who tried to defile the yajna at all costs. The princes therefore kept a strong vigil for all of the days. And on the 7th day, they spot Maricha and Subahu coming with a whole host of Rakshasas ready to pour bones and blood into the fire. Ram pointed his bow at the two and with one arrow killed Subahu and with the other arrow killed Maricha. Lakshmana dealt with the rest of the Rakshasas. The yajna was completed successfully. The heavenly weapons. Sage Vishwamitra, satisfied with the behavior of Rama in obliging the orders of elders and performing the act that is assigned to him, gives many weapons to Rama, which are called as Shastras and the Astras. The weaponry is categorized mainly into two types. One is Shastra, a handheld weapon like sword, lance, or mace. The other is the Astra, a projectile missile invoked by reciting hymns. This chapter lists out those missiles that are given to Rama. Sita's birth in Balakanda. One day, a female child was found in a furrow in a plowed field, and for that reason is regarded as a daughter of Bhumi, the goddess of the earth. She was found and adopted by Janaka, king of Mithila, and his wife Sunayana. Overwhelmed with joy, the king regarded the child as a miraculous gift of God. The king brought her to his palace and brought her up as his daughter. She was named Janaki, and Narada called her Sita. In her childhood, Sita, while playing with her sisters, had unknowingly moved the table over which the Shiv Dhanush, the divine bow of Lord Shiv, gifted to King Janaka by Rishi Parashurama for safekeeping, presented to Rishi Parashurama by the god Shiva, had been placed. This incident was noticed by King Janaka, and he decided to make this incident as the backdrop of Swayamvar. Sita Swayamvar in Balakanda. Rama, while going to Mithila for Sita Swayamvar, along with Rishi Vishwamitra and Lakshman, stopped at the then uninhabited hermitage of Rishi Gautam. Vishwamitra narrated Ahalya's story to Rama and asked him to free her. Ahalya, the wife of Rishi Gautam, was a beautiful woman. Indra, king of the gods, was tempted and decided to seduce her. He asked the moon to become a cook and crow early, fooling Rishi Gautam into thinking the dawn had arrived and causing him to go down to the nearby Ganges for his usual morning bath. While the Rishi was bathing at the river, Indra assumed Gautam's form and visited Ahalya, fooling her into thinking he was her husband. When Gautam returned, he encountered Indra, emerging from his hut in his Gautam's form. Spiritually powerful, Gautam employed his divine vision to see the whole episode. Enraged, he cursed Indra with impotence and cursed the moon, which had an unblemished look until then, to have spots. Rishi Gautam, in a blind rage, also cursed his wife, Ahalya, to turn into a boulder. Innocent of any intentional wrongdoing, Ahalya begged for forgiveness. Gautam relented into somewhat and said that when Rama was incarnated, he would bless her and break her curse. Rama touched the boulder with his foot, and Ahalya was immediately released from the curse, and she fell to Rama's feet and washed his feet with her tears. She felt that the curse had become her fortune as she got the opportunity to seek Rama's refuge in person. She then returned to her husband's place. Rama, Lakshmana, and Rishi Vishwamitra ventured on a journey and reached the beautiful capital of the Videhed, Mithila. The king of Mithila, Janaka, welcomed the great Rishi and inquired about Rama and Lakshmana, who were accompanying him. The brothers then set out to discover the beautiful city and visited Janaka's garden. It was the first meeting of Rama and Sita. Sita had fallen for Rama and prayed to Devi Gauri that she helped her to attain Rama as her husband. King Janaka had arranged for a Swayamvar ceremony to select a husband for his daughter Sita. King Janaka sent a messenger to invite Rama, Lakshmana, and Rishi Vishwamitra to attend the Swayamvar. It included a contest. King Janaka announced that whoever, after lifting the bow, which is called as the Shiv Dhanush given by Lord Shiva, from its place, string and shoot an arrow with it, could be married to Sita. Many princes tried and failed to lift the mammoth bow. Rama, however, came towards the bow and lifted it effortlessly, stringed and broke the divine bow, which is the Shiv Dhanush. Everyone were impressed, including King Janaka, his wife. Sita was absolutely pleased. Sita then approached Rama and placed a wreath around his neck. Janaka then sent messengers to Ayodhya, from where a marriage procession consisting of Rama's family, friends, and all his well wishers departed for Mithila. Rama Sita marriage in Balakanda. Messengers were sent to the kingdom of Ayodhya to invite King Dasharatha and his wives for the wedding of his sons. Thereafter, the two kings met and Janaka bestowed Sita upon Rama and his second daughter Urmila on Lakshmana. To Bharata and Shatrughna, Janaka gave Mandavya, also called as Mandavi, and Shrutakirti, daughters of Kushadwaja, the younger brother of King Janaka. After the Swayamvar, Rama, Sita, and the entire royal family began their journey back to Ayodhya. Rishi Parashurama confronted them. He was the sixth avatar of Vishnu and found it unbelievable that anybody could break the bow of Shiva. He had brought Lord Vishnu's bow and challenged Rama to string the bow and fight a duel with him in front of all his family. Rama respectfully bowed to Rishi Parashurama and within a twinkling of an eyelid snatched the bow of Vishnu, stringed it, placed an arrow and pointed it straight at the challenger's heart. Rama and Rishi Parashurama what he would give as a target to the arrow in return for his life. At this point, Rishi Parashurama realized that Rama is Vishnu incarnate, his successor. He bowed with respect. He accepted Ram's superiority, devoted his tapasya to Rama, and promised to return to his hermitage and leave the world of men.